दारी जय गोपीचन वल्लभा गिरिवरदारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुनतीरा वनचारी यमुनतीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीचन वल्लभा गिरिवरदारी जय गोपीचन वल्लभा गिरिवरदारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुनतीरा वनचारी यमुनतीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा श्रील प्रभुपादा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जीवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस पद सदस्य श्रीमती श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन संस्थापकाचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जीवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस पद सदस्य श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। जीवं विष्णुपाद श्री गौर किशोरदास बाबू महाराज की जय। जीवं विष्णुपाद सच्चिदानंद भक्तिनाथ ठाकुर की जय। जीवं विष्णुपाद वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबू महाराज की जय। जय श्री रूप सनातन भट्टर गुना श्री जी गोपाल भट्टदास अविनाश गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। नमाचार्य श्री हरदास दास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत दादा शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोकुल श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड के गोवर्धन की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन भगवान की जय। श्री मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देव की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। श्री हरनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथा श्रीमद भागवतम की जय। इस्कॉन रत्न गुरुवंद की जय। समावेद भक्तवृंद की जय। गौरव प्रेमानंद Hare Hare Bol, all glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All goes to Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Nashtaprayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtihi. Hare Krishna. Welcome you all to this Tuesday morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading Canto 3, Chapter 19, Text 27. Krito Shayanam Tam Akunda Varchasam Karardham Stram Paridashta Dachadam Ajadayo Bhikshya Shasham Sur Agata Aho Imam Ko Nulo Labeta Samstitim Shitao Shayanam Tam Akunda Varchasam Karal Dhamstram Paridashta Dachadam Ajadayo Bhikshya Shasham Sur Agata Aho Imam Ko Nulabeta Samstitim Shitau Shayanam Namakunda Varchasam Karal Dhamstram Paridashta Dachadam Ajadayo Bhikshya Shasham Sur Agata Aho Imam Ko Nulabeta Samstitim. Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ajay Brahma and others arrived on the spot to see the fearfully tusked demon lying on the ground biting his lip. The glow of his face was yet unfaded, and Brahma admiringly said, "Oh, who could meet such blessed death?" Although the demon was dead, his bodily luster was unfaded. This is very peculiar because when a man or animal is dead, the body immediately becomes pale, the luster gradually fades, and decomposition takes place. But here, although Hiranyaksha lay dead, his bodily luster was unfaded because the Lord, the Supreme Spirit, was touching his body. One's bodily luster remains fresh only as long as the spirit soul is present. Although the demon's soul had departed from his body, the Supreme Spirit touched the body and therefore his bodily luster did not fade. The individual soul is different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he quits his body is certainly very fortunate, and therefore personalities like Brahma and other demigods eulogize the death of the demon. Om Jnanatimirandasnananjan Shalakaya Chakshutmiltamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupagadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vanderam Shri Guru Shri Dapatakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Srivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostudev Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindapneshwari Vishapanisti Devi Panamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kapasnudubhya Vacha Patitanam Bhavanepur Vaishnavepyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishpada Krishna Pasta Bodhale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharne Nirvishesha Shunyamade Paschantade Siddharne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Moham Devachalam Bandhangi Devi Kapadamaham Bande Shri Guru Bhaktarana Paramananda Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So in this verse today, it is said that when the Lord killed Hiranyaksha, uh, Brahma and the others arrived at that particular spot where the demon was killed. They saw his dead body and they said, "Oh, who could have met such a blessed death?" In the purport, Srila Bhagavad mentions that although the demon was dead, his bodily luster was unfaded. Normally, when somebody is dead, the body immediately becomes pale, the luster is gone, the luster does not remain anymore as it was before, and decomposition takes place. And there's a lot of smell, bad smell that comes from a dead body. But here, uh, Hiranyaksha lay dead, but his bodily luster was not unfaded. The reason is that here it is mentioned, actually the soul had already left the body. And only as long as the soul is present in the body, the bodily luster remains. But here it is mentioned that how come Hiranyaksha's body had that luster even though the soul left the body. Srila Prabhupada mentions that the Supreme Lord himself was touching the body of Hiranyaksha, and that is why the bodily luster was as it is. It was not faded. And Lord Brahma and others came to see the dead body of Hiranyaksha. Now, generally, when a demon is killed, nobody would come and see, particularly when somebody is dead. But what happened is that Hiranyaksha was a great devotee of the Lord, which Lord Brahma realized. And that's why he, along with other demigods, came. Not only they came to see the dead body of Hiranyaksha, but at the same time they praised the death of Hiranyaksha, that who could meet such a blessed death, because there is nothing greater than by being killed by the Lord himself, because when the Lord kills, he gives mercy to the one whom he is killing also. So we see that actually the Lord gives mercy to the one whom he is killing. So because the Lord is absolute. So when he kills also, he is killing for the betterment of the other person to whom he is giving his mercy by killing. So there is another very nice example in Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto, 6th chapter. There was something very much similar to this, that Putana was actually a demon who was sent by Kamsa to kill Krishna. And she was actually killing the small children in the village of Gokul by feeding them poison. Now, she had actually come to kill Krishna, and she had a lot of mystic power. So what she did was she actually smeared her breast with poison, and she came dressed like because she had that mystic power. She changed her form from demon to a very nice, beautiful lady. She looked like a gopi, and she entered the room where even Mother Rohini was there, Mother Yashoda was there. They were all there, and she wanted to kill Krishna by feeding him milk. So she took Krishna from them, and then she put him on her lap, and she started trying to feed Krishna with her breast milk. Now Krishna knew all of these things because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So in the process, the moment she forced Krishna's mouth into her breast, immediately Krishna sucked her life fire and he killed her. Now, uh, what happened is that the Vrajavasis, once he killed her, she lost her bodily effulgence as a gopi, and she got her original form as a demon. So the villagers, what they did was they took her dead body, cut it into pieces because they were all afraid of this demon. So they cut it into pieces, and when the dead body was burned, it is mentioned that there was a lot of nice fragrance that was coming out of the uh, funeral. Now, why in such a place when a dead body is burned, nice, uh, favorable smell is coming? So it is mentioned because Krishna killed her by his own self. So when her body was burned, when she was killed, all the sinful reactions that were there in her, they were all purified and she became pure. And that is how when the body was being burned, the nice favorable smell was coming. Not only that, it is mentioned Srimad Bhagavatam that she attained the position of a nurse. Of course, in some places there mention of she getting the position of a mother, but actually Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura mentions it was not, she did not get the position of a mother, but she got the position of a nurse. Now, a nurse and a mother, there is slight technical difference in this. And he further explains that because she did not have love for Krishna, but still she came with an intention of killing Krishna, but she offered her breast milk to Krishna. He looked at it on a motherly position, but ultimately, when she was delivered, she entered Goloka, but she got the position as a nurse with awe and reverence. That means the position she got was not the same as the other gopis who were feeding Krishna with milk, and or like the other cows who were giving Krishna milk. So that is how she got as inferior position, but nevertheless she got that higher position because her intention, though was bad, but still she was thinking about Krishna as her child. So she was looking at herself as a mother, but so Krishna gave her that position as a nurse. So this is how examples are given that how if one even thinks of Krishna, what to talk about worshipping positively, but then if someone worships Krishna positively or even without uh, positive this thing worships in a negative aspects, still one becomes delivered. So what to talk about one who actually offers something very nicely to Krishna or does service. So in this respect, there is one more nice comment which is there from Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, which I mentioned. He says, if a person offers service with an attempt to kill the Lord and attains the goal of life, how much more will a person attain who offers with a neutral attitude? That means even if one has a neutral attitude towards Krishna, still he will be benefited. Then he further explains, how much more will a person attain who offers with faith? So even a person who is having a mentality to kill Krishna attains the goal of life. Higher than that is one with a neutral attitude. And still higher than that, he says that how much will a person attain who worships the Lord with who offers something with faith? You know, there are many people whom we see, they may have faith and they may offer something. And then he goes on to say, how much more will a person attain who offers with pure bhakti? That means if someone offers the Lord with pure love and devotion, what will be his position? And then he says, if a person worships an avatar of the Lord, he will attain the supreme destination. That means even if worships an incarnation of the Lord with some devotion, what will be his supreme destination? How much, and still greater, how much more will a person attain who actually worships Sri Krishna, who is the source of all avatars? That means if one worships even Lord Narasimhadeva or when, Lord Rama with love and devotion, he attains a higher planet. And what to talk about Sri Krishna, who is the source of all the incarnations like Lord Rama or even Narasimhadeva. So that is how he explains that if one can have some devotion with love and offer something to Krishna, Krishna becomes purchased. So this is another example, very much similar to this Hiranyakashipu's example, as to how his body remained unfaded and the luster was as good as before, just because the Lord was touching the body of the demon. So, Srila Prabhupada mentions that there is certainly one who is the most fortunate is the one who is blessed by the Lord, even if he is killed by the Lord. And that is how Brahma and others came to appreciate, not only they came and saw the dead body, but also appreciated the death of this demon. Because they knew that Hiranyaksha was none other, though he appeared in the body of a demon, he was a terror, but at the same time they knew that he was a great devotee of the Lord, and he, having been killed by the Lord, was the greatest blessing that he got. So this is the most fortunate position that one can get, and they appreciated the death of this demon. Now, the point is that not everybody gets. Srimad Bhagavatam also mentions about, Bhagavad Gita also mentions yam yam vapismanan bhavam, that whatever situation that one leaves the body at the end of his life, that is what he's going to get in his next life. That will be the consciousness, and so he will get a body something similar to that. Now, if this is one example, another very nice example is given of King Katwanga. You mentioned the second canto and the ninth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Katwanga Maharaj was he was a king and he was a great devotee of the Lord also. Now, he had, being a great devotee of the Lord, he was never attached to, sorry, some disturbances. So, even though he was a great devotee of the Lord, he was a king, he was a great devotee of the Lord, and he was not attached to any of the opulences that he had. So the demigods called him because they wanted to, someone very powerful to fight a battle with the demons. So they called him to fight, and he won the battle also. And because he won the battle, they wanted to give him some benediction. And at that time, he could have asked anything because he was in the heavenly planets, and where the opulence is very, very high, everything looks very beautiful. And but he thought, what is the use of all this opulence? Because he was already detached right from the beginning, being a great devotee of the Lord. So instead of asking for material opulence, he just, what is the duration of his life? And he was told that it was only one moment, and he could have stayed there, enjoyed for some more time, and he wanted to come back to this earthly planet and worship the personality of Godhead, because he realized that being in a very, very opulent atmosphere like heavenly planets would be an impediment for him in the path of devotion service. So he thought that the best thing would be to come back to earth and then leave the body. And before that, he could worship the personality of Godhead. So this is how he thought, and immediately he came back to earth. And then it is said that he worshipped the personality of Godhead. He was having a deity of the Lord. He came, worshipped, and he left his body. So this is perfection of life. Thinking of the Lord at the time of leaving one's body is the most fortunate thing that one can have. But then it does not happen automatically, for which one has to practice, which is what is we have this sadhana bhakti. That is, we practice Krishna consciousness. If one practices this Krishna consciousness as per the system given by Srila Prabhupada, it said that one can become successful and attain the supreme goal, that is, attain love of Godhead. It is not just that one enters into the Vaikuntha planets, but one can get love of Godhead also, which Srila Prabhupada has explained very nicely. Now, the point is that it is not very easy to come to the stage of worshipping Lord Krishna. One may even worship Lord Narasimhadev or Lord Rama, but then after many, many births, one may worship demigods. So many different types of worship are mentioned in the Shastras, but to get an opportunity to worship Lord Krishna, that too, and attain a stage of love of Godhead is something still rare, very, very. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, he has given a very nice system that whereby we can understand the Shastras, we can follow the instructions of Guru, and if by following all these things, we can, of course, become successful in our life. And this is possible only in the human form of life. Why? Because in the human form of life, we may not have much of an opulence. That's why Krishna himself says that I take away whatever one has at the time of death. So Krishna bestows his mercy to even devotees of the Lord by taking away whatever the opulence devotees have and making them fully detached. And the perfect example was none other than uh, Kathanga Maharaj himself. So another very nice example that is given is in the Battle of Kurukshetra. It is said that Krishna appeared to establish religious principles. So he did two things. One is he killed many demons like Putana, Aghasura, Kamsa, and so forth. But he also not only did that, but he delivered all those who were present in the battlefield. Now, those who were there in the battlefield, the soldiers, they all got delivered because when the battle was going on, they were actually seeing Krishna right in the front, and Krishna was protecting Arjuna. So Krishna was not only protecting Arjuna, but by showing his form, all those who saw his form, they got that Sarupya Mukti. That means after they were killed, they all got liberated and they went to the spiritual planets, Vaikuntha planets. With Sarupya Mukti, they got the form like Krishna himself. So this is how Krishna bestowed his mercy even to those who are fighting in the battlefield in the Kurukshetra. So if one can have the benefit of being liberated or getting Krishna's mercy, even fighting with the Lord or fighting in the opposite party of the Lord, what to talk about one who actually worships Krishna with whether it is with awe and reverence or out of fear or out of envy. There are some examples in Srimad Bhagavatam. For example, it is said that Shishupal. Now, Shishupal actually was worshipping Lord out of envy. Now, he was envious of the Lord, and when Yudhishthira Maharaj was being enthroned as a king, he gave so many abuses on the Lord. So the Lord tolerated. Now, this was an occasion when a king is being enthroned, it's a very auspicious and good occasion. Now, in such a place, if suppose someone is to be killed, now that place cannot be smeared with blood because it becomes very dirty, and then uh, the whole this thing place becomes inauspicious. But the Lord sent his Sudarshan Chakra and killed Shishupal in such a way that not one drop of blood fell on the floor when Lord killed Shishupal. So this is how the Lord not only kills, but also he does it so very well that the purpose is not only solved, but at the same time he makes it very, very nice, also good also. So the Lord did not sort it that not one drop of blood fell on the ground. This is what is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Whereas if you see the Lord's killing of Hiranyakashipu, the seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord actually, his face was touched by the blood of Hiranyakashipu, which we'll come to later. So the point is that the Lord can do things very, very perfectly. Not only does it auspicious, but he does it so very, very perfectly. So this is the one of these things of the Lord killing anybody. The Lord not only does in a very unique way, but also he does it very perfectly, and he creates auspiciousness for the person whom he is killing, which is what even Lord Brahma is appreciating here in this particular verse. What a blessed death that he has got. So from these examples, we can see that, understand that it is very important that one thinks of the Lord at the time of leaving one's body. That is what is very crucial, because it is possible in the human form of life. There is a very nice quote in Garuda Purana. The translation says, even foolish sinners like Shishupala and Duryodhana, who showered abuse upon the Lord, were cleaned of all sins simply by remembering Lord Krishna. So somehow or other, their minds were absorbed in the Lord, and thus they attained liberation. What doubt then is there about the destination of those who are overwhelmed with devotional feelings for the Lord? The demons actually chastise Krishna with feelings of enmity. Nevertheless, such demons attain liberation due to their absorption in Krishna. Now, Kamsa was always afraid of the Lord. He was saving, in fact, he was afraid and he was thinking of the Lord in fear. And he also got delivered. So, whatever way, one way, of course, the best thing is always to worship the Lord positively, and that too by doing some worship with love and devotion. That is the best possible. But even if one worships with awe and reverence, still one can be benefited by worshipping the Supreme Lord Krishna. So there are many examples given in Srimad Bhagavatam, Shishupal and Dantavakra, Ravana and Kumbhakarna. So they all actually appeared to perform pastimes for the Lord. So that is why they were all great devotees of the Lord. And they perform to show us that even if we worship the Lord in whatever mood that we are, still we can be benefited. Now, on the other hand, there is an example in Srimad Bhagavatam itself. Once again. Yeah. Now, in the Bhagavatam, there's a mention of Jada Bharata and Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj was also a great king, and his father, Lord Rishabdeva, who was an empowered incarnation of the Lord, he told, he was the eldest of the 100 sons that he had, and he told all of the others to follow whatever Bharat Maharaj was setting by example. It was a perfect example, and at the right time, he thought it was better for him to renounce the kingdom, being a great devotee of the Lord. Now, he went to an ashram, completely renouncing his kingdom. Now, this is one example of how one can get affected of even, that is how the powerful energy of Lord Krishna, that is Maya, is Mahamaya. Now, he was in his ashram. That is when he actually went to the bank of Gandaki River. This is the river where we normally get the Shaligram Shilas. So when he was taking his bath at the Gandaki River, all of a sudden he saw a deer. Which was pregnant and which was being chased by a tiger. So the deer tried to save himself, and while crossing, he crossed, but he died. And in the process, he left, but he left this baby deer. Now, Bharat Maharaj at that time, he was thinking, how can I leave this animal who is without anybody? So he took this baby
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Shanta Govinda Prabhu. Did Prabhuji said class is over? Or he left by mistake? Hare Krishna devotee.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhuji left or the class is over?
There is a server problem today.
Okay.
The server, please stop.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. The line got cut.
No problem. Please continue. Please.
So we were in Jada Bharata story, past time. So Bharat Maharaj, actually one time the deer was not there in his ashram and he was all the time wondering what has happened to this deer. Where has it gone? So in the process, he left his body thinking of the deer and he had to take the body of a deer. But being an enlightened person at that time, by the mercy of the Lord, he could understand that he made a mistake. And then after that, he got the body of Jada Bharata. Now, at that point also, he was born as in the Brahmana family. But somehow, due to circumstances, when his parents died, he was being taken care of his stepbrothers and steps. So they ill-treated him and they asked him to do a service of driving away the birds from the field. So at that time, he saw palanquin being going. The king was going in a palanquin, and one of them, something went wrong, and they wanted this Jada Bharata to help them in taking this. So Jada Bharata was so conscious at that time that of the mistake that he did as a king, and then he did not want to commit the same mistake. So by the mercy of the Lord, being an enlightened person, he was very reserved in his approach to anyone, and people would think, oh, he's a very mad person, doesn't talk to anybody, so detached. But then what happened was, he did not, when they took him to carry the palanquin, he did not want to kill even any living entity like ants or small insects on the ground. So he was jumping to avoid killing the living entities. So King Raghugana got very, very angry and he was chastising and he wanted to punish him. So that is the time Jada Bharata actually spoke the signs of self-realization to the king. And after hearing from him, the king got enlightened. And he said, no, you are not an ordinary person. You know the truth. the science of the absolute truth. So this is how Jaradbharata actually transformed himself after making a big mistake. The point is that if you see all these examples, now it is possible for us to decide during our lifetime as to what we should be achieving, whether we want to go to heavenly planets to enjoy opulence, or we want to remain here, or we want to go to lower planets into abominable species of life, or we want to even go to the supreme planet of the Lord himself. So for whatever we do throughout our lifetime is what is going to determine how we are going to leave our body at the end of our life. So for which one has to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. And to take shelter of the Supreme Lord, one has to practice this Krishna consciousness at this lifetime itself. If possible, we should try and complete this, what Srila Prabhupada has said, that we can finish our business in this lifetime and go back to Godhead. So coming back to the subject of Lord touching the body, now if you see Hiranyakashipu's Lord killing Hiranyakashipu, nobody would actually remove an intestine and wear a garland of intestine. But in this particular example of the Narasimhadev killing Hiranyakashipu, the Lord actually ripped apart Hiranyakashipu's body with his nails. Now the Lord can even do it without even touching. Even by seeing, the Lord can kill a demon. What to talk about tearing apart the body with his nails. But the Lord displayed that particular pastime very perfectly because he came in a half man, half lion form. So to show, yes, that he was playing the role perfectly as a lion, he tore apart the body of Hiranyakashipu and then he took out the intestine, made a garland out of it, and he wore it on himself. Not only that, his face was smeared with the blood of Hiranyakashipu. Now, see, if we even our if there's a drop of blood from our own body falls on our face, we feel so bad. But here, Narasimhadev was actually enjoying, not only enjoyed the fight with him, but his face was smeared with blood of Hiranyakashipu. And he wore a garland of intestines of Hiranyakashipu. Not only that, he took out the heart from Hiranyakashipu and threw it out. So the Lord not only killed him, but played this particular pastime of killing the demon very, very perfectly. So these are some unique ways by which the Lord performs this pastime. So if we look at these examples, the Lord, first of all, gives mercy. He's very compassionate. He gives his mercy to the one whom he is killing. He also does his pastime very, very perfectly without any mistakes. So these are some of these things. And if we see here, Brahma and other demigods, they are appreciating the death of the demon. In other words, by appreciating a devotee who has taken the role of a demon, is actually glorifying. So glorifying the Lord may not be possible for us directly. So it is said that one should try to glorify a devotee of the Lord. So by trying to glorify a devotee of the Lord, one actually gets to glorify the Lord himself directly. So the first process is to glorify the devotee of the Lord who's for his devotional activities. And glorification is a means of purifying one's own self. So here this is a perfect example of Brahma and the demigods glorifying Hiranyaksha. Though he was in a demon's body, they knew that he was a devotee of the Lord. So they were glorifying his death. So glorifying a devotee of the Lord is the first step of trying to have the purification, whereby then one can reach a stage of glorifying the Supreme Lord. So this is what I have for this class for today. If anyone has got any questions, some comments. I'm sorry, I don't know what was the reason. There was a internet connection failure. So the class had to be interrupted for some time. So I can take some questions, some comments for the next few minutes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the session.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. I like that point you mentioned that we can glorify the devotee. In
Yes.
a way, we are glorifying the Lord Himself.
Yes, Mataji.
And Prabhuji, may I ask a question?
Yes, Mataji. Please.
So, like when we pray,
Yes.
there will be like somebody who is maybe a child or something. They still are not into. I mean, they may have been in bhakti, but still, as of now, they are not doing. But we pray for them. So, how the Lord blesses them, Prabhuji?
If a child is born in a devotee's family, definitely it's a blessed child, because definitely the Lord, it is possible that in the previous birth, the child might not have completed his its devotional service. So the Lord has given an opportunity to take birth in a devotee family. So we don't have to ask or start thinking whether the Lord will accept the prayers of the child or not. Even if it is a child who is praying or the mother who is praying for the child, the Lord accepts the prayers. It is not the physical prayer that the Lord accepts. It is the mood or intention with which we offer to the Lord. So that's how I gave these examples of somebody worshipping the Lord out of fear, someone worshipping the Lord out of envy. So there are so many examples. So what to talk about the one who has even a neutral attitude, that also the Lord accepts. And if somebody offers something, whether it is a prayer or it's an offering or it's a bhoga, whatever we offer to the Lord accepts the mood with which we offer, not what we offer. So don't have to really worry about whether the Lord will accept a child's prayer or no. So even by letting a child having a darshan of the Lord itself, it is very, very auspicious. Did I answer your question, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. So,
Yes.
like, it's okay to ask for like the well-being and health, and like
Yeah.
always feel is it okay to ask from the Lord in that way?
The best devotional practice is to worship the Lord without expecting anything from the Lord, trying to understand whatever the Lord does for the best rest of the family. But still, I mean, that's in the beginning stages of devotion, one may not be able to reach that stage. But as one surrenders to the Lord, one will always be able to take shelter of the Lord and feel and come to a conclusion that whatever the Lord does for my child is does for his own good. So it is a process which can happen in this birth itself. And if not, then Lord will make arrangements. But as long as we are in the right path, Lord will ensure that the devotee comes to its completion of the devotional practice, if possible in this birth. Otherwise, if the Lord wants, He can allow us to take birth. Even next birth, He can have this completed. So we should be fixed in whatever devotional practices we are performing, as far as possible, without any anya vilashita shunyam, that is, without any material expectation. Even spiritual expectation should not be there. Okay, Lord will reciprocate me. We just do whatever service and possible from our side, and leave it for the Lord to decide. That is the best possible devotional practice. But then it's a process. It doesn't happen at the beginning stages. But as one progresses and starts hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from devotees of the Lord, then one can understand and realize this also, that the purest form of devotional service is practicing without any expectation, in an uninterrupted manner. That means without any interruption. This is the best possible practice of devotional service, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Like I was thinking, like sometimes we pray generally get scared because of some ill health or something, and at that time we pray for good health. So
Saying that, okay, let my recover so that he can practice Krishna consciousness or do service to you. That is a better way of praying than just praying that please recover my child from the sickness. So one can always pray in a way that they can maybe engage in Krishna consciousness and then leave it to the Lord to decide what he does. Like I said, it is a process. It may not be possible to attain at the beginning stage of devotion. And the whole thing depends on how one associates with devotees of the Lord. This is the most important thing, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Any other comments? If not, can I take the class as concluded?
Yes, only
Hare
one
Krishna,
day.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
He will not want to get him, which is why we got him.
Okay. ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।